So what we're climbing up right now, it's hard to tell because the jungle has grown so much over it, but this would have been encased in stone exactly like this, but the roots of the trees have grown into and between the stones and pulled the pyramid apart. Just like this right here. All of this would have been fine white limestone that would have been painted over potentially red or blue, sometimes green. But over the course of so we had a little bit of trouble climbing up the pyramid. Eli slid all the way down to the bottom. Are you feeling okay?
My legs are a bit raw, we're good.
So we're climbing up the side of the pyramid. I'm trying not to get bit by a snake or a spider that's sitting up on top of this ledge right here. But you can see this ancient rubble poking out through the jungle. I've said it so many times. But in the Mesoamerican world, it's a pin cushion with no more room for pins to be put in. It's completely covered with ancient cities, far beyond the world of ancient Egypt, far beyond the ancient Near East, the Middle East. This was a population that was more than 3 times the size of medieval Europe during medieval Europe's heyday. Ancient temples like this are everywhere. Less than 1% of ancient Maya temples or sites in general have been excavated. And they estimate that potentially around 60%, maybe even 70% haven't even been officially named, charted, mapped, anything. This is an entire world, not just one world, many worlds of the ancient world that are completely unknown to us. It's amazing. There's all kinds of little creatures around here. Lizards scattering off, snakes scattering off. Luckily I haven't seen anything like a nawiaka or a fertile ants. Hopefully I don't put my hands on like some poison oak or something like that. See this substructure right here? You can kind of shine your...
Yeah, I am.
Put the camera under there. I'm trying not to get so close, but that's definitely where a snake would be hiding to wait out and strike their ankles. If you ever decide to come out here, you got to get yourself a pair of snake boots, at least to protect you as much as you can. Good?
Yeah, it's hard to do it with one hand.
Oh, man. I think we're coming up on the entrance of the site now. Maybe we try to hang up closer to the... You gotta watch out because a lot of times, like I was saying before, the roots of these trees right here have grown into the temple. Sometimes it loosens up the rocks and you take a step on something, it falls out from beneath you and you end up sliding down. Like watch this. I bet you this right here, see how loose that is? You don't want to put all your weight on that, go sliding down. This is probably, what would you say, 40 feet high?
Roughly.
Yeah. Can you grab my hand?
Yeah, I'm good.
You took the easy way. So, we found an easier entrance inside the tunnel, or inside the temple, but I decided to take the hard entrance. It looks cooler. But if you follow me over this way, this is what, at the end of many generations of the Maya constructing a pyramid over the course of hundreds of years, potentially even 1,000 years, they would eventually build a stone structure on top of it that actually had pillars and walls, big thick walls. Look how thick this wall is. This is in the center of the pyramid, and it's 4 feet wide. Maybe this one might even be 6 feet wide. This was a royal place for a family that had been, a family lineage that had been continuous for the course of 700 to maybe even 1,000 years. This would have kept the temple very, very cool. You can tell how hot and humid it is here. This would have kept the temple very cool, both during the summer, and it would have helped to keep things warm during the winter, and at the very few times that it actually might become cool or chilly here. If you continue around this way, this right here is a textbook example of what a mostly untouched ancient pyramid looks like. There's probably been some other people here that have visited the site before, but we're off in the jungle. Pan the camera that way. We're far into the jungle right now. You can look all around. This is a textbook example of a mostly untouched ancient temple, or this could easily be considered a palace. Again, look at these pillars right here. These would have come up. There would have potentially been stone roofing here, maybe wood and thatch. This would have been an immaculate place to live once upon a time in the ancient Maya world, around 1,500 to 2,000 years ago. So when I'm here again, I'm constantly watching out for snakes. These are the last snakes in this hemisphere that you want to get bit by. That's an instant end to this expedition. Fertile ants, known to the Maya as the Nawiaka, said to be 3 times as venomous as the eastern or western diamondback rattlesnake in the United States. Some people have been known to die within just a few hours. Some die that are allergic to the venom just within minutes. You can see these trees, potentially some several hundred years old, growing into and through the structure. Down in here, this is growing down inside the structure. Sometimes there are big cavities in these pyramids. There could very likely be a cavity inside this pyramid, a chamber with hallways and tombs that you walk inside of. Ancient kings, queens, lords, perhaps even children that died and were buried in the structure, and when they were buried, they established where their tomb would be on top of an ancient pyramidal complex. They established and mapped out the area that the tomb would be, built walls around it, sometimes chambers connecting tombs to each other, filled the tombs with all kinds of ancient jade Maya riches. Sometimes riches that come from further up in North America, sometimes further down in Central America, maybe even South America. And then they would build another structure around it. And eventually you end up like this, where you have this stone palace, an ancient royal family stone palace sitting on top of the tombs of their ancestors. A lot of time, in a lot of ways, the ancient Maya world is kind of a death cult. A lot of their ancient cities are necropoli that are built to honor and immortalize their ancient ancestors. Everything in the Maya world was about worshiping ancestors. As I'm walking across it, I'm realizing this is a massive palace. Look at that view. That would have been beautiful. You can imagine this being kind of an oasis for a royal family to live in something like this. This is one of the finest things that anybody living in this part of the ancient world would have ever seen. And normal layman people would have killed to have walls this thick, both in the interior and the exterior. Some think that they were perhaps meant to resemble Xibalba, the Maya underworld. The dark underworld sometimes is seen as caves. They think that sometimes this was meant to symbolize caves to make this place dark on the inside. Perhaps that's part of it, but again, this is a palace, this is a temple for ancient royal families, and this certainly kept them cool. I've been down inside Maya labyrinths with big, thick walls on the interior and the exterior. As soon as you walk in, it feels like a dark, damp, cool cave. Many times they would face it towards the breeze, so there'd be a breezeway coming all the way through here, allowing the breeze to come through, just like I feel right now. When we were climbing up the side of the pyramid, it's nothing but hot, humid, incredibly damp. But you get up here, all of a sudden the breeze comes in. So not everything is so esoteric. A lot of things are practical. These were scientists, ancient scientists that were genius people. This is one of the most prolific ancient American civilizations that ever existed. These walls right here are built for a purpose, not just symbolically. This is meant to keep the royal families cool in this hot, humid jungle. Well, that's about everything I got for right now. I'm Luke Caverns. I'm an anthropologist that specializes in the origins of ancient civilizations all across the world, but one of my utmost fascinations is the ancient Maya world. It's so prolific. Millions and millions and millions of people existed in these jungles, and palaces as big as this palace are found everywhere, all the time. The local people know about it, and there are plenty that nobody knows about. So I'm Luke Caverns. If you'd like to see more videos like this of me in the field exploring these ancient structures, taking you guys into places that you'd have never known about otherwise, well then please like, subscribe, share this with anybody who might enjoy it. We'll see you next time.